Hi, this is Khalil Goliwala. Welcome to another episode of the BIPOC Manager podcast with us today, I have Amir Hameed with us. I've been excited to bring Amir for since I started this podcast because he's changed my life, especially with interviewing and jobs. So Amir Hameed is the Senior Vice President, WW Solution Sales and Engineering at RingCentral. He's a professional engineer with over 25 years of UCCC domain expertise in pre-sales leadership roles in companies including Avaya, Sonos, Nortel Networks, and 8 and 8. As the Senior Vice President of WW Solution Sales and Engineering at RingCentral, Amir and his organization leverage AI to work with partners and prospects to support customers' digital transformation strategies worldwide as they migrate their business communications to the cloud. Amir has been recognized for his leadership in driving innovation, delivering exceptional customer experiences, and he's based out of Toronto, Canada, which I love. So, Amir, thank you so much for being a guest today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Khalil.
I think what I love to hear is sort of, in a broader sense that you're a minority, you're living and working in Toronto, Canada, but you're also working in sales, which is about building authentic relationships with people. Can you talk about how maybe being a minority in a broader sense has maybe affected you or influenced the way you build relationships with people?
Yeah, absolutely. I see it more of a strength than a weakness. So you mentioned WW. Well, the WW is worldwide. So I'm actually leading the worldwide pre-sales organization for RingCentral, which is based in Silicon Valley. So I'm taking the Bay Area and representing it globally. I've got teams around the world, but most importantly, I've got customers and partners that I'm dealing with. So I think, coming from a minority background, it provides a greater appreciation for the various people that I'm meeting around the world.
Yeah, amazing. And so for you as well, are they, so for example, when you're introducing yourself to someone or meeting someone, are there specific things that you're doing to immediately to say, get them on your side to get them to like you? Any tips?
Absolutely. It may sound funny, but when I'm in the UK or even Australia, I never fail to mention that I'm from Canada. I'm not from the US. It kind of breaks the ice and makes it a little bit funny, right? So people in general like Canadians around the world, right? We still have a pretty decent reputation. We're friendly, we're easygoing. So I think that actually helps. So, being a minority is second. First of all, I'm typically representing Canada, right? I'm from Canada. I'm Canadian, and then each location will have their language, which is very specific to them, right? Like, we say highways, they say motorways, right? There's a lot of little nuances of how they say the time. So I'll usually break the ice with a little bit of things like that. So you're kind of relating, right? You want to have a personal relationship. You want to show that you're relatable, likable. And then whether I'm delivering a keynote or I'm in a meeting, if I'm able to connect with the individual on a level, then that makes that experience much more meaningful.
Yeah. One thing that you're speaking about it, I think about how when it comes to networking, a lot of people will go, they'll have a call, but I find what's hard is to keep that connection and in sales, it's keep that lead or prospect warm. Like
Yeah.
any strategy tactics you use to kind of keep that relationship warm and alive over time?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you have to have that, you want to have that authentic and genuine connection, right? So when you're in sales, if I'm meeting a customer, a prospect for the first time, I try to get as much information about the individual as I can. Perhaps they're big basketball or football, or, there may be something sports related that you can connect with them on.
Yeah.
Find something that they do outside of work, and if you're able to engage them on that level, then it just kind of helps show the human side of it. So it's not just business. I'm just not just selling to you. I'm trying to get to know you and connect with you as an individual. It could be their children. It could be the schooling, something that relates to them in an authentic way, not in a disauthentic way where it's kind of you're using them. No, it's really like, oh, interesting. I understand you're into basketball. Oh, well, I'm from Toronto, the Raptors, they want, something along those lines, and connecting with them, really makes that difference.
Yeah. All right. The more I talk to you, I realize, you're someone who, for me, is you seem so confident, so comfortable in your skin. Is this something that you've always had? This fluency in language, this confidence, or is it something that you've worked on or learned over time?
I think you work on it for sure. Communicate. Like, I'm an engineer. I'm an electrical engineer, professional engineer, as you mentioned earlier. But I think, irrespective of which profession you go into, communication skills are absolutely paramount. That is going to get you further in your career.
Yeah.
So it's something that you work on, whether it's written communication, whether it's oral communication. I think is super, super important. So it's certainly something that I work on and I have worked on over my career. And, people, coming back to the sales aspect, ultimately people buy from people, right? So you're representing a product, a solution. In reality, your competitor may have something very similar. So what's going to differentiate you? Of course, you highlight the strengths, you try and understand, and you listen as much as possible, because, it's not just about you, it's about where they are in their digital transformation journey, or where they are within their technology stack. So you want to truly understand some of the pains that they're having before you turn around and prescribe a technical solution for them. So, active listening is extremely important. And then when you get the opportunity to talk, you don't want to waste their time. You want to come forward with something relevant, something that's groundbreaking. Likely, I'm fortunate to work at RingCentral. We're a global company, so whether I'm talking to a large bank or an insurance company or a hospital or a law firm, it doesn't matter which vertical they might be in. A large university, I would have case studies from similar universities where I can share the benefits that were brought about when they migrated to the cloud with RingCentral. So you can truly relate and translate the technology that you're offering in a language of their day-to-day, so that they look at you and say, wow, this guy's not trying to sell me. He's actually trying to help me as a trusted advisor. And he understands my situation because he's dealt with others in the same boat and has delivered benefits to them.
Yeah, because hearing you talk, I mean, to bring it back to previous point, like we're just talking right now is almost taking that technical conversation and keeping in line with business, but also part of it is that human element, right? Speaking that local language, if you would, in
Yes.
Australia and UK. So you're connecting in that human personal element, but also that professional element, which are two dimensions of this conversation. Having
Absolutely, absolutely. You want to come across as human as possible, and so you appreciate who they are, what they are, and try and relate with them. And then again, because you can't just come into a meeting and start talking business, And I've done a lot of work in the past in Latin America. When I was at Avaya, for example, they don't want to talk business in the beginning. They absolutely, some cultures are all about relationship building. Do I like this person? Let's have a meal with them. Let's sit down with them, talk about families, things of that nature. And then a second or third meeting, now I'm willing, you've earned the right to talk business with me. That's different. Now in the US, hey, let's go straight to business, right? So you have to kind of understand the cultural norms. And that actually makes the job exciting, because everywhere I go, there's going to be that nuance of the business that they're in. What are the challenges that business or that industry may be facing, in the macroeconomic environment that they're in, and then the individual themselves, and connecting with them as much as possible. And then, of course, earning the right to have that conversation about how the technology and solutions you're providing can actually help them drive business outcomes, right? It's all about business at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's a word you used, Amir, about trust, right? It seemed like it's liking maybe is the word I was using, but to build trust with people. I'm wondering, if you're having maybe may not be very specific to you, but a lot of conversations now. Previously, you'd go to someone's office, you'd have time to have that pre-chat, post-chat. A lot of us right now through Zoom and Teams and virtual. Are there ways that you found to build in time for those more, let's call them more of the personal conversations, either before or after?
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned Teams and Zoom. We have RingCentral Video, of course. So I'm going to throw in a plug for my company. But no, absolutely. It's when you do that meeting, often we'll try and schedule a lunch prior or a dinner after. It really depends. We are a sponsor of the Golden State Warriors, so we have an executive suite in the Chase Center. So sometimes for a large enterprise customer, we may afford them an opportunity to have an executive briefing. So I will line up a full day where they can talk to our product experts, see some demos, but then afterwards we'll take them to a nice dinner and then take them to the basketball game, right, in the suite. So you do have that opportunity. We've taken Canadian customers as well to the suite where we've gotten to know them better, and then you build on that because again, you're not about the sale, right? You want to be a true business partner for them, and so you demonstrate that by again connecting with them on a personal level, building a relationship with them, and then keeping that ongoing because there's going to be times that we're selling software, right? Things are going to go wrong at times. You want them to know that they can reach out to you. They can reach out to me no matter where I am in the world. I've got message, video, phone, I've got my mobile devices, and I will be accessible to them. And if I can't help them, I will absolutely connect them to someone who can help them. And I think those are the relationships that truly bear fruit over time.
Yeah, no, it's just the way you talk about relationships. It's reminding me of how much of it, I remember this quote said, um, if you have trust with someone, 90% of the words you can say can be wrong, but they'll still work with you.
Sure. Well, absolutely. It's like like Stephen Covey, right? You've got the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and he's got this concept of an emotional bank account, and
Yeah.
it's exactly what you're saying. So when you build some good trust with someone, you're building that emotional bank account with them to the point where you're right. You may not be 100% on necessarily, but they'll give you that benefit of the doubt. But if you haven't invested that time to build that relationship and something goes wrong, they'll be quick to dismiss you because they don't really owe you anything or they don't feel connected with you at all.
Yeah. I'm a bit of change of pace, but I love, especially on LinkedIn, just the photos you put. You're a very well dressed guy. I love the shoes. I love the clothes. And I want to say, like, in terms of your personal brand, can you talk a bit more about your clothes? Like about what your clothing choices, your fashion choices, your colors dictating.
Yeah, I mean it is your brand. So I think earlier on in my career, I'd read a lot. I have a lot of management books and leadership books. And when you're in when you're in an environment and you're representing your company outside, you do build a brand. So I do take pride in how I dress. I actually like it. It's fun, right? But at the same time, people know that when I'm there, I like to be amongst the best dressed in the room. I'm representing my company. I want to be as professional as possible. I like to be as current on trend as possible. So yeah, that is something. Thanks for noticing. There is some effort in that as well.
Yeah, for me, I really don't have. I developed my fashion sense to my wife. So she was like, she's like, she do some leather shoes and stuff and
Sure,
socks.
sure, sure.
So I'm a bit more aware of it, but it wasn't something natural that came to me. I remember maybe I want to ask the question before we start wrapping up. But you mentioned reading all these books and different, like you mentioned Stephen Covey. Any books that have had a huge impact for you?
Yeah, I think the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is certainly a good. Well, Malcolm Gladwell has a few different books that are really well done. There was a time when I was traveling, and every business trip I would take, I would actually go in and buy a book to read. On the flights. Now times have changed. There's all sorts of things online, but I think the investment in your professional development never stops, right? Both on the technical side. But again, if you're just technical and you're the smartest person in the room, it's not enough, right? So you want to have that business acumen as well as you progress in your career. It becomes more about the business. And so certainly the more you read, the more you understand and comprehend, the science of selling is very important, right? Active listening, understanding you can't sell to someone who can't buy. Am I talking to a decision maker? If I'm not, it's important to talk to influencers as well, develop a champion within your organization. But ultimately, you want to have time with that decision maker because they're the ones that are going to ultimately give you success in that sales pursuit.
Yeah. Um, Thank you for that, Amir. Maybe if I just a quick follow-up question there, but like, so in terms of, is any sales book or sales methodology you particularly recommend?
Yeah, there's all. I mean, look, they've done all kinds over the years. Medic and so value selling is a very good one. They're very common, right? Depending on your company that you're working for, or often a CRO, will have a preference. But ultimately, it really boils down to the same sorts of things. You've got to approach a prospect. You want to try to listen to them to understand what problem they have. You want to make sure they've actually got a budget. You want to know the timing of the budget. And then you get into what my team does, which is technical validation, right? So we support the sales team. We have sales teams that are responsible for qualifying opportunities, finding prospects, and bringing them forward. Then they bring it to my team, which is, the solutions engineering and overlay sales. We are like the experts. So when we have that opportunity to come in, we want to know as much about the customer as possible, and we're brought in as experts. So when we have an opportunity to speak with them, we also want to ask questions. That's the thing. Like, sometimes SEs are just focused on the demo and you prepare for the demo. But sometimes the best meetings happen when you don't even have an opportunity to do the demo. And the reason is you've got the customer talking more about other areas of concern where you may be able to make that big deal even bigger. So I always encourage my team, is like, look, absolutely prepare as much as possible. Make sure the demo is perfect. But even if you don't have an opportunity to demo the solution, make 2-3 follow-ups. That could be a lot more valuable than just sticking to core. So a lot of it, again, it's that business sense. It's reading the room and understanding, but ultimately you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. I love the sound of my own voice, but when I'm in a meeting, I want to listen. I want to listen and gather as much information, ask as many open-ended questions as I can to learn more about the customer and the prospect. And then, only then, do we come and prescribe a solution that can help them.
Good. Amir, thank you so much for that. Now, I guess I love looking at your LinkedIn because I love looking at it. Gives me like fashion ideas and tips. Like, if someone wants to kind of, learn more about you, learn more about RingCentral, what's the best way they could do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to ringcentral.com. We've got our website there. You can see all of our solutions, message, video, phone, contact center, events, video solutions. It's all there. More and more AI. We're doing a lot of AI. In fact, we just did a product launch last month in November, and I had the honor of kind of leading that product launch, announcing our RingCX, our AI-driven contact center in the cloud, a new events platform that we had acquired. And then to the keynote on that was an actual interview with Steve Kerr. So I got to talk to Steve Kerr, the coach of the Golden State Warriors, sit down with him and talk leadership principles. And I thought that was just a great opportunity for me to actually learn from a superstar player, now coach, and apply those same principles to business. Because again, leadership, you can learn so many things, and leadership and business acumen are all applicable across the board. And he even shared about how they're leveraging analytics to determine which players they want in which part of the court, depending on the competitor and all the analytics that they have. Like, it's a science. It's not, I play sports, I love it, but it's amazing when you're playing at that level, the amount of analysis and analytics that you leverage to ensure that you're going to maximize and win.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Amir. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Pleasure. Thank you, Khalil. Best of luck to you.